So, I mean, bands to have in mind this game are definitely Draven on one side, Echo on the other. Copenhagen Wolves opening with LeBlanc. Both teams actually have played Echo. Both teams have lost with Echo, so perhaps we shouldn't ban it. And it's like, no, you guys take it.
Dare it.
No,
there we go.
You guys can take it, no.
Do you think the Cassiopeia is still a ban-worthy thing against Storm? We haven't seen it as much in a couple weeks.
It is punishable, in my opinion, by Bard, but maybe Elements have learned to shy away from that pick a little bit themselves.
The Maokai banned away, the Fizz as well. There's the Alistar ban. I feel like we always want to talk about it and then just never do until it just inevitably comes up time and time again. And there's also the Rise. No surprises there in this pick ban phase. And Elements, well, they have something in mind yet again for this Echo. Will it be Froggen one more time?
I mean, Froggen had a fantastic performance on the champion yesterday.
I think it's going to be him. Look at him.
Copenhagen Wolves could reply. They're hovering Kalista right now, which I don't think is necessarily a bad pick, but this could open up just the Sivir lane swap for Elements, you know, play that utility lane, have the gank pressure from Dexter in the mid lane, and we haven't seen yet what Dexter can do in a neutral state of the game, right? The one game they played, it was even, he played this slow scaling jungler in Sejuani, so we didn't see his early game there, but every other game he's had to sacrifice one of his solo laners on a first blood already, you know, whether it's bot lane, Promiscu dying early, whether it's JWoww getting behind early due to a misstep at level 1, so if we want to see if Elements can keep it even early, and then see if the real Dexter comes through and can provide some pressure, because he has a decent success rate when it comes to ganks so far. He's got his hand on Gragas a couple of times. Might do so the same if the Wolves don't pick it up in this rotation.
Yeah, and there is the Gragas. And I was going to say, Dexter is... Oh, no, wait a minute. Okay, Rek'Sai. So now it's open.
Soon.
They juked us there. Let's see if Elements... Yep, they just totally lock it in very, very quickly here.
It's not a question of Gragas, more of a question when. Do Elements want 2 priority picks here, or do they want to hide information? They've already got the Echo. They're fine with just counter-picking a little bit more, seeing what Copenhagen Wolves are going to build towards. They have this very flexible pick in Rek'Sai. She fits in pretty much every composition, but then Kalista gets revealed. And I wonder what Tabs is going to play. Is he thinking about Urgot to match the Kalista in lane, or does she want a Sivir for some more wave clear? Bring some more tempo to the game, because this is something we see Elements fall into more than one occasion, is just run too little wave clear.
Yeah, that Vayne pick yesterday really did not pay any dividends for them. They were unable to do anything with it. And I think it's wise to maybe hold off on that just yet, so they go ahead and take the Thresh for Promiscu. No fancy Bard plays, Crepo, not today. At least not for Elements. Let's see what Copenhagen Wolves decide to answer with in kind on their side. But has anything really been revealed from Elements? Oh, okay, never mind. Let's switch it over, because the Wolves are very, very quick about this. They go ahead and take the Azir. They also take the Morgana or Unlimited. So now, I'm going to flip this on its head. What's Copenhagen Wolves looking to do? I
mean, I like it. They want to protect Freeze to an extent as well. Now they have double disengage, when they have Black Shield on Freeze, so he can hop around freely, dodge those barrels, and not get knocked into the team. And I think Morgana is a really good pick into Echo as well, because you can deny the stun part of parallel conversions. Crucial to his kit, so you can at least keep a carry alive. And if everybody starts piling on top of you, Emperor's Divide will be rudimentary for the Wolves to win. Decent composition. They can route it out with pretty much any top laner at this point. Maybe an extra tank if they want more defense. Maybe a Rumble if they want more, play more on the offense. They're waiting for JWoww to take his pick. The Wolves, with something we haven't seen from them before too often. Youngbuck getting the last pick in the game. Saying, hey, we want this matchup, we want Youngbuck to win this matchup, we want Youngbuck to complement our team to perfection and see if we can punish this Hecarim that comes out from Elements.
Yeah.
Elements pick up the Ashe 2, very immobile. So we had yesterday Gragas, Body Slam flash inwards, Echo diving in the fray. But Ashe will be alone in the backline if Hecarim also chooses to clippity-cloppity his way in there. Let's see if Taps can survive, or we see a repeat performance from yesterday where he went down a couple of times. He does have the Lantern.
He does. There's definitely the escape utility. Thresh always adds a little bit of late mobility to anyone he's laning with. See what the Copenhagen Wolves decide to answer with against this Hecarim. We probably could have guessed that was the pickup, since the Fizz is banned and we still see the Smite in the top. Of course, that could change any time, but since they haven't really, looks to be exactly what JWoww wanted all from the beginning, as the Wolves let the timer tick down. What do they take for Youngbuck? What do they want to send him up against here? It's a decision on their faces, but at the end of the day, stand resolute, stay with it. It's going to be Vladimir.
Vladimir offers another late game component. Does a lot of damage. But this makes Airwax the sole tank in his team composition. I would have maybe liked to see more of a tanky presence up in the top lane. Not sure what he could have picked here though with so many top lane bans. So he goes for the Vladimir. Tricky matchup into the Hecarim. Vladimir sustains well. Ranged poke, Hecarim can close the gap. So I think we'll definitely see some junglers show up in that top lane.
Would not be surprised.
Would definitely be needed. I think if they can snowball the Hecarim, then he can start repeat killing and, you know, walking over Youngbuck on that top lane. Wave control incredibly important as well. Yes, Vladimir has a pool to get down and get out of the lane, but if you have the wave control in front of your tower, then his Sanguine pool is just simply not long enough to get all the way back to his tower, and you can use mobility to your advantage to catch up. Definitely will be an interesting game. I think the early to mid game will decide how this game plays out. Scaling might be on the side of the Wolves with a double AP late game on Azir and Vladimir.
Well, we know the Wolves are no strangers to a very, very late game. We saw that yesterday against Gambit. Unfortunately, they were unable to really do much of anything. I think that's a game they probably want to forget about facing off against Elements here going forward. However, we are set up. We're about to go onto the Rift, and we want to hear from you at home. Tweet us at LL Esports to see if you think Elements will pick this one up, or will the Copenhagen Wolves waltz away with a victory here in Week 3. There are your comps. There are your teams. The crowd is very excited as we are quite ready to get this game underway. Elements taking on Copenhagen Wolves, and we are onto the Rift.
And you see it right there, hashtag Lwin or hashtag CW win. Both teams 1-4 right now. Both teams desperate for a win. Alistair heading not towards relegations, but at least not well on their path out of the bottom 3 spots right here.
Dangerous territory right now.
And the one lone soldier in the crowd shouts here, "Let's go, Froggen!" I want to see a repeat performance from his Echo. Fantastic yesterday.
It was great. It was definitely a standout performance, but the rest of Elements, their lanes could not really get it together. They couldn't do much, and it was definitely a problem. Versus a team like Fnatic, they didn't have really any chances to get back involved. Copenhagen Wolves, on the other hand, they need to start coming up with some new tactics for sure. We'll take a look as this game starts out. Elements going fairly deep in, look to be establishing some vision. Wolves have to give them a distance.
I think I have it figured out what they want to do. Elements, they want to lane swap away because Hecarim has Smite, duo jungles pretty well. Youngbuck is a scaling AP laner with very poor jungle clear that doesn't do well into lane swaps. In addition to that, if you take a look at what's going on the bottom lane, Glista Morgana, double ranged, have a 12% of your maximum HP damage, can close the gap, go forward if a bind connects. So Tabs and Promiscu probably don't want to lane this. We saw this yesterday as well. Elements did not want the laning phase, but Fnatic, they were smart enough as a team to realize that. They matched the swap. And it just simply wasn't enough.
They do have the scouting ward there available, so Elements will know that this has happened. Do they still keep to this, though? It's a little bit late to try and swap again.
Too obvious of a swap that you should actually just deep ward invade and then fake it out and go back to the bot lane, almost take another step ahead, because it's too telegraphed of a play to just simply deep ward, get your lane swap wards out and default to the top lane. It's too obvious of a swap scenario. It's advantageous for the top laner and advantageous for the bot laner. So it's obvious here. Spreading out the passive procs, this is what I like seeing. Usually this goes a lot quicker because you used to be able to start Sangling Pool. If you start binding, and this is the optimal way to do double golems, and I'm proud of Friesen Unlimited. They've graduated from the golem school.
Crepo seal of approval on their diplomas as well. So with that, we have our Australia lanes. Tabs and Promiscu will find Unlimited and Freeze after it all. As we start this one off, and we thought about junglers focusing on the top side, I'd say that's probably going to go spiral down towards the bottom, which means dragon control is another thing to factor in.
Now, it's not disastrous in this lane here if Tabs can poke out. The reason Ashe used to get picked a decent amount into kills is because the range poke is enough, and the hook lands. Unlimited still level 1.
Yep, and talking about poking him out, he's going to have to burn his flash, sends a dark binding. Nice juke by Promiscu.
You see the return damage come out there. If they don't land, if they get hit by the bindings, then they're in trouble. If they can juke them and hooks in return, then they're doing fine. But the all-in potential is definitely on the Wolves' side. But Tabs and Promiscu, definitely good players. They can dodge it.
So far, so good. But Airwax is coming up here for some
no wards.
Backup, no wards to spot him. Promiscu and Tabs, they could be in danger.
Let me just give it away.
Yep, that's an immediate flash by Promiscu. But no Tabs is a little bit caught. There's the hook. Airwax is going to flash over into Tabs, into the exhaust. That's going to be first blood as Freeze. rips out those spears.
Even though Unlimited gives away that gank by moving up aggressively, there's not enough defensive tools on the side of Elements. They need level 3 on the Thresh. They need that Lantern. If they had that, Tabs could have gotten out unscathed. Instead, they take him down. And another first blood, giving up at Elements. And if history repeats itself, this will mean that Elements are on their way to lose the game. A little early, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's an early call, but you know, it was a good move by Copenhagen Wolves. They knew that Elements would be feeling very confident in that dual lane, and they responded immediately by sending Airwax that way. Meanwhile, back in the mid, we've seen Froggen and Soren just batter each other just a little bit, but Froggen not getting the better of it just yet. Dexter now moving in to take away this blue buff from the likes of Airwax while he isn't in range. Back to the top side, though. Promiscu gonna eat a binding, but he sends a hook flying. Unlimited will be able to shield it up. A lot of one-off action all across the board, but no concerted efforts on either party just yet.
Yeah, definitely. The Dexter goes for the cross-map objectives, trying to steal Airwax's blue there. But he draws away JWoww in support. JWoww then allows Youngbuck to push out that bot lane, bounce the wave, get a safe shot. So he's getting through these early levels that are rough. But Airwax going for the return gank. They're looking at Tabs.
Tabs runs right into it. He'll get the lantern to safety, but it's interrupted. Airwax will have the shield, and Freeze will have yet another kill. Off to a rolling start on this 2-0 Kalista.
Fantastic counter by Airwax. Yes, he goes for Tabs, and then you usually think, oh no, we're gonna see a lantern, we have to go for the Thresh, but he just knocks him out of the lantern, and Tabs no summoners. 2 deaths on him already, and he's playing this very weak early game AD carry. We saw Forgiven do it too. If you get caught a couple times on Ashe, well, you bet your life on it that you get caught a couple more times, and then you're gonna lose that life that you just wagered.
Well, it's happened twice already, so Copenhagen Wolves with a decent lead up in the top side duo lane means they will have the gold edge so far. However, yet to make anything more of it, they will be backing together. Freeze and Unlimited to go and shop just a little bit. Taking a look at the gold that they have acquired so far, a decent lead, really. Double the gold of Tabs on Freeze right now. He can make do with quite a lot, and he picks up, looks like a BF sword to start things off.
Yeah, and gold usually doesn't tell the tale all the times, but if you look at the items, that does. A 38 CS BF sword, that is quick. That is early. 5 minutes, 30 seconds in the game. Freeze bought that, and he's gonna snowball the matchup. At this point, is it even worth laning 2v2 anymore? Should you free up Promiscu as a resource and send him to roam, because Freeze does so much damage right now.
Yeah, I think that might be the best bet. Let's see if they decide to take that option, but Airwax still smelling weakness here. It's around the side. Let's see what happens if Tabs and Promiscu step up for this farm.
And look at the wave as well. It's pushing forward. Right now, they're relatively safe in their position, but 30 seconds from now, that wave is going to be farther up the lane. And then Kalista can use those hops forward aggressively. Likely they start focusing Promiscu now, because he's the one that holds the lantern. Airwax is lurking. Dexter is here for the return gank though.
Yeah, Airwax might have caught himself in. He goes to check on Tabs. The lantern goes out as Promiscu walks back the unsafe way. There's the hook. There's the shield. It comes too late. Airwax though, the heal comes out. A huge teleport in, or rather Airwax goes in. Teleport from JWoww rather, as the fight just starts out of nowhere. Dexter, the Hemo Plague, it should burn him down. It is Youngbuck who secures the kill. Taking stock of it in the craziness. It's a 1-for-1, but they're looking to add to it. Tabs, he's going down. A double kill for Youngbuck. JWoww still clumping around. Let's see if he can find Youngbuck. No! Freeze will rip the spears out for a 3rd kill.
Double kill for Youngbuck. Comes in with the teleport later than JWoww, but it wasn't enough. Elements, they tried it. It was nice ID. They spread out beautifully. They didn't get caught. Tabs didn't get caught rather. Then Godfred or I'm stumbling, Pyra. So much action. Promise
so
you.
much stuff happening.
So many new supports.
Let's just take a look at it one more time.
Back at it again.
Slow
down. So, okay. Tabs, good tunnel. He wants to cut off Tabs' escape path. He sees the lantern, then he wants to try and cancel that maybe. He knows Tabs is safe. Now this is where he goes haywire. We turn around on Airwax, and Elements is first, so they planned this. JWoww comes in, Limited drops, but then look at the damage Youngbuck's about to do. Ulti, EQ. Dexter, he gets the Ren stack from Freeze, puts him in kill range while he dashes over. He could have used that body slam defensively to peel, suicide peel for his champions. Tabs gets focused immediately, and JWoww just doesn't quite have enough. And this is grim. They're snowballing the early game AD carry in Kalista first pick. Their late game scaling mage that they picked for Youngbuck as a 5th counter pick is getting gold as well. Elements are down 2-5. Yet another game where before the 10-minute mark, they're already at a gold deficit. Even got me at a loss for words.
Yeah, got me too, to be honest with you. That was Copenhagen Wolves reacting very quickly, make the best of the situation that they could. Elements were still able to secure a few kills, but still, they just didn't get enough to compare, and Freeze is starting to become a real safety hazard for this Element squad. He said 100% kill participation. If that build is to be believed, he could be working his way up to a very early Bloodthirster. Soren, meanwhile, will dodge out from the parallel convergence, but overall, the Wolves are definitely doing quite well in this game.
Yeah, Soren definitely watched Feberbin play against Froggen's Echo yesterday. Knows if you dodge the parallel convergence, usually fine. Now they've swapped Promise Q, not Copper, and Tabs back to the bot lane. They're doing the Krugs, but he's already here. Look at Freeze, level 7. Tabs maybe just got level 6 here. Promise Q behind still, so experience disadvantage, gold disadvantage, pressure disadvantage,
well,
and
Tabs
most importantly, item disadvantage.
Exactly. He hasn't been able to really shot for much. He'll finally go back and acquire himself a
arrow in the mid lane.
It is
Hail
going
Mary.
Flying. Will it hit Soren in the face? No! He sidesteps it, but the parallel convergence will smack him right up as Froggen Chrono breaks in. Soren takes a whole lot of damage. Whoa! There it goes.
That was a Chrono break.
I got juked.
That was fake.
I was 4 seconds
so
in the
many
future.
hops.
My bad.
Yeah. Tell me my fortune, Pyra. Am I going to stumble over my words again?
Not in the next 4 seconds.
Not in the next 4 seconds.
Yeah, so with all that, Soren will eke away a little bit, but Froggen right now doing quite well in this mid. Once again, though, the tale is his team has just not done as well individually, and they're not able to come together as a team as well as the Copenhagen Wolves are right now.
Definitely. Hopefully Froggen and friends stay friends after this game, because he's doing well yet again, just like yesterday, but the rest is falling down. Not looking good. And Tabs have to use that arrow in the mid lane. We see parallel converges again. Soren?
Yep, Soren, he's forced in it. He throws the Emperor's Divide, but Froggen will be able to take a bat to his head. There was yet another one of those phase dives. Meanwhile, though, the Wolves will secure themselves Dragon number 1. Sacrifice Soren to do it.
This is good. This is good. For both teams right here. Wolves pick up a Dragon. Yes, they lose their mid laner. And Elements, they still have that Hail Mary. They still have Froggen getting fed. Maybe he can carry. If you look at the bot lane, it's not a good point, or not a good sign when Ashe that is behind is firing her arrows into the mid lane, looking for an opening. She just wants to farm right now. The gold advantage on Freeze is major. Let's see if they can translate it into even more objectives. The bot lane tower is down to 20%. Just took the Dragon. And Youngbuck, he's farming decently right now in the top lane, 2-0-1. But he's not punishing JWoww too much.
Let's see what Froggen can do against Airwax as the tower goes down. There we go. There is another Chrono break, and he gets away. So, Elements have secured one tower in the middle. As you mentioned, there's some low towers on the map right now. Copenhagen Wolves are looking to answer that one back, but they've got a Dragon in their pockets. They've got a gold lead, so a little bit more gold in their pockets as well. JWoww doing decent against Youngbuck right now, but Youngbuck's picked up those 2 kills in that crazy, chaotic fight, and Freeze is getting scary. This is definitely a problem for Elements.
Yeah, and it's not like the Copenhagen Wolves are rushing or should be rushed to close out this game anytime soon. They can slowly take more advantages, a little more CS, a little objective here and there, and keep scaling on their double AP late game composition.
Oh, JWoww is going to have to dash back in. Eric's is going to get the pop-up, and there's the onslaught of Shadows to retreat. As the Hemoplague finishes, he'll go ahead and play himself back to base.
Goes back to the base indeed. Limited getting thrown in here.
Fate's Call, Tabs. Looks like they might pull a strike here. There is the Ashe Arrow, point blank range, and nice escape from Tabs.
See, I don't like that. If you play Kalista, what happens is when you use Fate's Call and you throw your support in, he or she will get reset back to your initial auto attack range. This is why you saw a limited bounce back to the 500 roughly range that Morgana's auto attack is. That's almost out of range for your ultimate, and Tabs he escaped. Instead, I feel like Unlimited should have thrown himself next to Tabs and then popped ulti, trailed him with a black shield, and so maybe got on the kill. If he was a melee support, yes, then you can go for the throw in, because you land in melee range, you do another CC right here. It's often forgotten when you use Fate's Call. Ashe, or Tabs rather, survives, but uses both summoners.
Yeah, and his ultimate too, so it was a very expensive escape for him. Nonetheless, he's been very battered this game with 3 deaths. He's still trying to build towards his first item, and on the other side, Freeze.
But he has a global hawk shot.
It's true.
There's a certain North American caster that just loves these hawk shots.
See if he makes use of them. JWoww's got no ultimate to get out, but he doesn't need it. There's a lantern from Promise Q, and Froggen will tag himself in up to the top Time Winder to clear a bit of minions out of the way.
Game kind of slowed down. We saw the crazy action on the top lane. with both teleports coming in, but look at the teleport timers, they're back up. This means I haven't seen out too much action in the last 5 minutes. Dragon went down, gold lead 1,500. Froggen once more though.
Froggen takes a dark binding, throws down the convergence, but Unlimited is able to walk away from it, and with Freeze up in the top, Froggen dares go no further. Tabs now looking to try and clear the wave on the bottom side, but both Soren and Youngbuck are there. Will they attempt to dive? There is a lantern. Youngbuck sustaining through the minions, pulls away to avoid everything.
Again, Element's not in sync. If Gragas is coming in with the body slam, then you should know. Let him go first, and then send the arrow after the flash. Good idea, but they could have executed it better. But at least they had the right idea. They wanted to shut down Youngbuck right there.
Well, that seems to be Elements.
They forced his flash, but they could have executed just slightly a little bit of it.
Seems to be Elements in a nutshell, really, though. They have good ideas. They've been playing new things, but it just hasn't really executed that well. We saw that to the extreme yesterday. I'd say today it's a lot more minor. Nonetheless, Copenhagen Wolves, in the absence of anyone up top, they're able to take down a tower. Parallel Convergence, once again, moved away from. There's just such a tell there. If you don't get some prior CC, it's difficult for Froggen to really do anything 1v1, but he defends his tower quite well.
Yeah, but it's zone control still. Even if it's so obvious of a spell, you just use it to force the enemy back. And you deny Azir the opportunity to poke you down while you take the CS. And that's what Azir's strength is in lane, to poke you down repetitively and then all in you. JWoww still trading evenly with Vladimir, even though Youngbuck got ahead early, and it almost feels like he should be even a little farther ahead in CS. Only 20. Still looking good for the Wolves.
Still looking good indeed. Now, they definitely have themselves some vision up in that top side, but it's a little more blind down here. And with Dragon a minute and 15 seconds away, that's got to change if Copenhagen Wolves want to continue this trend. They got the first Dragon on the board. They were able to do it while Elements was not in position. Will they be able to do it again, or will this time Elements think differently?
If Elements wants to contest his Dragon, they will need teleport work for JWoww, preferably behind the Copenhagen Wolves' lineup. Because if you're hard engaged onto a team like the Wolves with Emperor's Divide, with a Black Shield, and with a Morgana can throw out bindings and then just send in the Rek'Sai 2, worst case, and turn the fight all around with Youngbuck, then you're gonna have a bad time. So you definitely want to have a flank component to that engage. Start a fight and then land the arrow, because it's very hard to land these arrows if they're telegraphed. Good Black Shield reaction by Unlimited.
Keep playing these complex compositions. JWoww.
And they didn't push out the top lane entirely. They left a couple of creeps and they're putting up a slow push right now. So this wave in top lane will stack. About 30 seconds, a minute, maybe a minute 30 from now, it will hit the tier 2 tower. And this gives the Wolves enough time to rotate towards the Dragon. That's where they want to set up shop. Hopefully secure their second objective.
A few members of Elements are already here, though. Dexter and Promiscu have camped out in the brush, and it looks like Frog is going to attempt a solo dive as he jumps back with the Chrono Break and the Lantern. Hemoplague burned for that, ult for ult, and now Elements are motioning to get in position for this Dragon, but so are the Copenhagen Wolves.
I feel this is almost worth it. Getting rid of that Hemoplague is big for the team fight. No AoE, you know, magic damage come out of Youngbuck there, and Froggen, he's still nimble. If he does enough damage, he won't even need his ulti to go back in time. But they left their mid tower exposed.
Not going to get anything back for it either. Maybe a bottom tower. It looks like that might be the option as Froggen and Dexter polish that one off. Still, nice move by Copenhagen Wolves. It ends up being a tower trade 1-for-1. And now Copenhagen Wolves, they might want to go for more, dodging out the hook. They're right back at it. 4 members on with a minion wave at their backs and no response. Yeah, no wave clear, and that punished him that time. So 2 towers for 1. The Wolves in a good position.
Yeah, second tower goes down in the mid, and yeah, look at that top wave we talked about earlier. It's stacking big right now, and this opens up for the Dragon, because JWoww kind of has to defend that. He says, yeah guys, I can teleport, but there's this massive wave here, I want to take it too, and we're not in position, we're too late. So Dragon, 2 towers. The Copenhagen Wolves, they trade 1 tower and a stacked up wave. Definitely, again, worked in their favor. Snowballing their lead.
Yeah, this is exactly what they need to do right now. Can't give Elements a chance to get back. They've got some scaling on their side. JWoww can last a little bit longer, be more relevant just because of that Cinderhold path that he's chosen to go. Froggen, if he can get ahead, we have seen him do some serious work. But the thing is, Copenhagen Wolves are just playing better together and making better decisions.
And now, right now, you see Youngbuck as well in the bot lane. Needlessly large wall just purchased, and he's becoming that big split push threat. He still has his teleport up to join the fight. If it breaks loose in the top lane, Wolves, they don't have a Azir here, so no wave clear, so they likely have to concede this tower. No cross-map objective in the mid lane either, but Freeze is dashing in aggressively.
Yeah, he is. Look at those spears sticking out of Promiscue. He rends them away, throws another one his direction. Tabs and Dexter have to back away with him.
Look at that ghost though. Froggen's always ready to go back in time.
Yep.
Now JWoww has to base and deal with Youngbuck, but I feel like Youngbuck will start to out-sustain him pretty soon.
And let's take a look at Youngbuck too, because as this game has slowed a little bit of a pace, his early game was fantastic just because of those 2 kills he was able to acquire. Youngbuck we typically list as one of the weaker top laners here in Europe, but he's done exactly what his team has needed him to do this game. And big props to him for really taking the advantage that he had and kind of throwing his weight around. Let's see what Freeze can do. Speaking of throws.
See, this time he changed it up and limited. He knew he wouldn't get bounced back because it would lock him out of his binding animations too, so he went next to Tabs. Tabs flashed out. Ultra Flash definitely worked.
Oh, nice barrel back, but Freeze is going to flash very quickly to avoid getting caught by the hook. Airwax now is going to turn the pressure onto Froggen. Challenging Smite comes out. No one else is going to follow. Promiscue tries to get the flay back, but the tunnel will slow him down. The parallel converges, and in comes the horse. JWoww, Onslaught of Shadows onto 3. Emperor's Survival trying to push it back. Youngbuck teleporting in. Let's see if the Wolves can take this fight. They've taken down JWoww, but Unlimited is going to follow back to Fountain. Heal is on Freeze. Elements getting chunked, but Dexter is determined to finish this fight, and so is Froggen, but he won't have enough in the tank, and Freeze will slay him. 5-0 on this.
Froggen got popped before he could use Chrono Break. Youngbuck opted to kill the front line there. They were kiting. Zero Ultimate was down, but wasn't enough for Elements. They tried to force the fight, but Copenhagen Wolves were too far ahead, and they're gonna translate this fight in yet another tower, it seems, Pyra.
Yeah, looks like that's the case. So a 2-for-1 fight and a tower. Copenhagen Wolves let the lead roll. Let the lead roll as they will be able to back away nice and safe. Let's take a look at this fight, though.
A good barrel by Dexter. We see the immediate reaction flash from Freeze, dodging the hook, and then the Black Shield comes out. He is safe. Eric's get caught here, and you want to hold the flay until you see the tunnel animation. A little early on that, gives Eric's free passage to get over. Could have changed the fight. Zoning parallel conversions, forces the flash. And then JWoww gets exhausted into deep. Hook misses on the teleport too. Youngbuck doesn't get stopped, so Promiscue with a repeat from yesterday, just not quite right on his timings. And it's punishing Elements. They need the outplays here. If they want to fight against the gold lead, you need to just play better than your opponents because they're working with more resources. Sadly, for Elements at least, they're not doing that just yet. And the Wolves expand their gold lead to 5,000 right now.
Yeah.
And that's big given the history.
21 minutes in the game. 5,000's a bit of a rough gold lead, not to mention the 2 dragons the Wolves have, 5 towers to 2. They're ahead in pretty much every conceivable aspect of the game right now, and Elements, they keep trying, but I feel like, yes, outplaying is something they have to do. They haven't been able to do that for quite a long time in the split.
And yeah, let's see how this game progresses from here. We say this a lot about teams that are not used to win a lot of games. They're not used to playing with a lead, and let's see how well they can close. Yesterday, the Wolves rolled over and died. But what are they going to do right now? Are they going to follow this lead, Pyra?
Yeah, I feel like for Gambit, yesterday, it was kind of a matter of them not being able to close out and the Wolves just being able to stall a little bit, but this situation so different to them. Let's see if Youngbuck survives this one. He's in some serious trouble. JWoww has to take the Thresh Express to get himself out of danger. Now Soren, Emperor's Divide, puts down the Azir Turret, flashes all in the blink of an eye. And he is going to be able to get out of the situation. Tabs gets picked up, and Soren hops back in. Dexter tries to hop out, but Soren will slay him. The order was given, and it was fulfilled. Copenhagen Wolves turn a bad situation into a great one.
And knock knock, who's there? Shurima. The Copenhagen Wolves pick up 2 kills. They look to translate this into a Baron. If there's any team or any member you want to have on your team when you're doing a Baron with a numbers advantage, it's Kalista, because you will always secure it with the Ren passive, or active rather. Yeah, Herux he can go on zone control duty. The jungler can just try and zone out people, worst case, because you can execute it. He eventually picks it up with Smite combo.
Easy peasy
Wolves,
Baron.
We said it just now. How are they going to close? And pick up another couple of kills. Elements yet again behind. Getting avalanched upon. We can no longer call it a snowball.
Yeah, we talked about this early on in Champ Select. That is what happened to him. It could be dangerous. Let's take a look once again at how Soren looked like he was caught. But then
pops up the tower and knows that he can just stall. All he needs to do is stall. Hook goes wide, comes to the tower here, and now Elements is caught. They were moving as a team, but suddenly they find themselves with a, you know, a surprise tower popping up, and usually don't like those surprise towers. Good move by Soren, knowing what he had to do. He peeled defensively with the Emperor's Divide, flashed out where necessary, stayed alive long enough for his team to catch up, and Copenhagen Wolves know that in even numbers they will always win these fights now with such an advantage.
It looks like Emperor's got a few new moves besides the Shurima Shuffle in his playbook. And on the back of that, and Freeze just getting so far ahead this game. Honestly, all the Wolves just doing exactly what they need to. They have amassed themselves a serious lead. JWoww and the rest of Elements attempting to push 2 lanes at once, but Copenhagen Wolves, they're all on the bottom and taking them down as Youngbuck runs interference. And Elements are pushed off.
Baron buff to buff those minions, expends his ulti to take out the wave, and
there's no one here.
Yeah, it's empty, but even if there was somebody there, they would quickly disappear. So Elements banking, hoping that the Wolves can't take down any Nexus towers.
They're not leaving.
I feel like they can.
Few members of Elements have come back. In comes JWoww, but he's afraid to actually dash into anyone as his home guards runs out finally. That's the power that he had. They're going to try to group up on the rest of Copenhagen Wolves, but now he's forced to ult defensively. Airwax is tanking the lone Nexus turret remaining. Meanwhile, Youngbuck finally went down to Froggen, but he bought a whole lot of time.
Oh,
immediate cleanse. Nice. Well done. That signals to Wolves, okay, we've come too far, or rather we've stayed too long. Let's back out, try this again. But already a massive play, and now they're looking to go again. Froggen still hasn't backed in this one, Crapo.
Yeah, if he didn't quite catch it, Froggen used that Zonia's Chrono Breaker combo while Youngbuck was waiting for him. He popped him, but in the bottom, JWoww gets bound.
He gets
denied. He gets a minion.
Oh, all the way back to Fountain. He's able to get back. However, Copenhagen Wolves, they really might have overstayed their welcome here. So dangerous, but they managed to take down the last Nexus turret. It's just a Nexus for Elements. Copenhagen Wolves, talk about trying to close. They've taken this one all the way up to 11. In comes the Rek'Sai again.
Yeah, Teleport comes in full HP, Youngbuck. Rek'Sai comes back full HP. Bare Nexus, Froggen half HP, he's going in!
He's gonna try to save the game if he can, throws down the Zhonya's Hourglass, and Copenhagen Wolves will turn around. Soren pokes him to death, and now Elements in the last of their efforts to stay alive in this game. I don't think it's gonna matter as the Copenhagen Wolves finish him off in just under 26 minutes. What a game and what a close, Crepo.
Yet again, Elements give up first blood. Early game goes rough. Froggen does well in the mid lane, but it's not enough. The game's already snowballing the other way, and things are looking grim for this revamped Elements. 4 new players. Yes, they still need time to get together to band bond rather, but if you want to contend for playoffs and have slight hopes for Worlds, things will have to change.
Things will have to change. For the Wolves, things have changed for the better. They managed to pick up another win for them. There's still a lot of work to do against a team that had only had 1 win before, but still, good win for them today.
Yeah, and you mentioned it yesterday, Pyro, when you said the Wolves, looking ahead at next week, very tough schedule coming up. They definitely needed that 1 win. They wanted to, of course. Everybody wants to win.
Yeah, 1-1 though. I mean,
can't get it all.
After yesterday, after the very painful loss, very sloppy game, this was much better executed. I liked the comp, I liked their early game, I liked their mid game, I love the end game. I can't call it late because it was only 26 minutes.
Yeah, decisive, clean victory, but if we saw the Wolves struggle so much against Gambit yesterday and do this to Elements, it poses the question, where did it go wrong? What do they need to do to fix it?